It's Andre from the High Performance Academy. We're here with Beau Yates, probably one of the most recognisable names in Australian drifting. Last time we interviewed Beau at World Time Attack a couple of years back, unfortunately, while he had just debuted his brand new Toyota AE86, he'd also just had a nasty accident in his really well-known AE86. Just wanted to talk to Beau. You've just got this car back from a full rebuild. It's a really iconic car, obviously one of the originals of drifting out of Japan. Let's talk about the damage that happened a couple of years back. What actually went wrong?
Yeah, so obviously this is my championship winning car from 2006, so it's very well known here in the Australian drift community. Obviously World Time Attack 3 years ago, I was involved in a pretty heavy shunt up there on the South Circuit, but it's been an extensive job to get it back to where it is. It's had a full driver's side chassis rail, strut tower and front tie bar, so it was definitely a lot of work to get it back to the condition it's in right now.
It's an immaculate rebuild, and these cars are only getting more and more hard to find in good condition, so definitely great to see that you put the effort into rebuilding it. Just talk about the engine package for a little bit. Obviously the AE86 is best known for the 4AGE 1.6 litre engine. You've gone a slightly different route. Can you talk about the engine that's in it, the 3S beams, and why you went that way?
Yeah, well, I mean, just with the progression of the sport, when I first started drifting it had the 4A platform in it. From a 16 valve, then I went 20 valve to then turbo 20 valve, and then in 2007 when I first got my deal with Toyota Motor Corporation here in Australia, we went to the 3S beams, and it was just the way the sport was going. You needed more reliable horsepower, more horsepower, and just the 3S beams engine seemed like a strong package to put in it at the time.
Now it's obviously turbocharged. What's the turbocharger you're running on it?
So I run a Garrett 3576 non-GTX. It's got a Turbo Smart 50mm wastegate. We're only running about 20 pound of boost, so it makes around 317 kilowatts on 20 pound, and it's still on pump fuel, so 98.
We're seeing over the last few years a real drive with drifting, particularly out of the US, and that's kind of followed on to Australia and New Zealand. More and more power every year, and particularly in the US, the turbocharged V8 is really key. How much of a deficit is it running a small capacity four-cylinder?
Yeah, well, that's the thing these days. You gotta demand so much from these four cylinders to make the power of a V8 or a six-cylinder, and that's why I've crossed over to the 2JZ in my current 86. Just with the steering knuckles and the way the direction the sport's going, you just need good, reliable horsepower. And unfortunately, with a four-cylinder engine, you got to run high boost and really stress the motors, so then you're not getting the reliability.
One of the advantages that the AE86 has always had, though, is it is a very light chassis. So that balance between power and weight, how vital do you see the weight being?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, this 3S Beams engine, it's a fully built engine. It's dry sumped. It's got TRD pistons. It's head gasket studs. It's pretty much everything you can do to a Beams engine. It's been very reliable over the 5 years that I've had it in the car prior to the accident. And I don't see the point in this chassis to, people ask, that motor could make a lot more power, Beau. Why don't you put it on ethanol or wind the boost up? But, for the chassis, it's a 1,000 kilo car and it's already making 317 kilowatts. And to have Keiichi in the car this weekend and the positive feedback he's given me on the suspension and the level of grip that the car's got is fantastic. So there's no real need to overpower the car.
So right now, what you're really saying is you've got a package that's well balanced between the power, the weight, and the amount of grip the car's got.
Exactly, and ultra reliable. So every time I turn key, I know the car's going to come back in one piece.
That's definitely important. Now, just touching on that motor again a little bit, I noticed obviously the factory 3S Beams engine has variable cam control, both intake and exhaust. I noticed you've still retained the variable cam control on the intake, but you've got fixed cam on the exhaust. Can you tell us why you've gone to down that route?
Well, listen, I mean, this car I built originally in late 2006, early 2007. So engine management's come a long way since 2007, and the E11 version 2 that currently runs this car from 2006-07. At the time they couldn't control both inlet and exhaust, so we locked up the exhaust, but it's still full variable on the intake.
Yeah, I guess the technology has moved along in both engines and ECUs. The dry sump system, again, that's relatively uncommon, I guess, in a lot of drift cars. Was that done out of necessity or more out of a drive for reliability long term?
Well, it's just anything that gets built out of the shop at Hypertune there, they obviously they build cars at a very high level. So as soon as I brought the 3S to the table and even mounting it in the AE86, I wanted to get it as low as possible so I didn't upset the handling too much. So obviously with the dry sump I could drop the motor about 75 mil from memory. So it just allowed for a low centre of gravity and obviously longevity and reliability of the engine as well.
Moving back through the car, can you tell us what the gearbox and diff combination is?
So the gearbox is just an R154. It's still a Synchro 5-speed. It's just a good, strong, reliable gearbox. I was breaking W boxes in it, so I went to the R154. I don't think the car's too far away from having like a sequential or something put in it. It wasn't until I jumped back in it the other week after 3 years and I thought, oh God, I nearly forgot how to drive a synchro car. So after having the sequential in the behind the 2J, but the diff is an F-Series diff out of a locally delivered Tarago, like a van that we've got here in Oz. So it's been a super reliable diff and cops a punishment we give it.
Look, thanks for giving us some insight into the car. It's one that I've always looked at on the internet and loved, so it's nice checking it out in person. Really glad again that you've gone through the effort of rebuilding it. But we wish you all the best for competition at the end of today, and thanks for the chat.
Thanks, mate. No problems.